My name is Ray Boyd, and I got some good news and I got some bad news. The good news first. The good news is that the people of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts went to the polls and they elected Scott Brown. Scott Brown took over a seat that used to be referred to as Kennedy's seat. Ted Kennedy had that seat for 46 years. The good people of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts decided to put Scott Brown in that seat. Scott Brown, in his acceptance speech, said that this is we the people seat. I was so proud to hear him say that. It's all those seats belong to we the people, not to an individual. I want to congratulate Scott Brown on his tremendous victory. I'd be happy to ride with Scott in his truck anywhere. In fact, I would invite Scott to come down to my place and ride in my truck. Mine's got a Hemi in it, and it will take you where you want to go very quickly. The only thing that surprised me a little bit about Scott Brown's acceptance speech was his daughter. That basketball playing daughter of his, she's beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful. And I don't know why some young man hadn't come by and swept her off her feet. If I wasn't 67 years old, I'd be up in Massachusetts because I'm a pretty good basketball player myself, was a pretty good basketball player, and I'd sweep that young lady off her feet. But I want to talk about that's the good news. The good news. The bad news is the Republicans are celebrating like they've won a lottery. They are celebrating this victory. It is a great victory. But the Republicans do not need to celebrate as if somehow they have pulled off this great victory. This is a victory for we the people. It's a victory for the people of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And pretty soon in this upcoming election, it's going to be a victory for we the people across this country. The bad news is the Republicans think this is a grand opportunity for them to get back in control of Congress. They were in control of Congress once before. And if I recall, it didn't go so well. So what we're going to do is, all of us, we the people, have had it with Congress. You're absolutely an embarrassment to the country. Y'all have gotten up in that ivory tower up there. You've become permanently attached to the seats of government up there. And unfortunately, you're still there because we the people have been sitting on our hands. I blame Congress for a lot, but really the blame stops here. It stops with us people with the ballot. It's our fault that we've let this continue to this time. Our founding fathers never intended for people to go to Washington and stay. They expected them to go to Washington, serve some time like public service, and then come home. But that's not what our guys do. They go and become professional politicians. They're not public servants anymore. I want to give you just a little bit of history that I just looked at. I looked at the top 10 senators. Not top 10 senators, the top 10 congresspeople in both houses of the longest duration. Those 10 people that are currently serving in Congress, let me get this straight, the 10 people that are currently serving in Congress that have the most longevity, if you add those 10 people's service up total, it comes out to 434 years. You divide 434 years by 10 people, those 10 individuals have been serving an average of 43 years apiece. They range from Senator Byrd of 57 years down to Don Young of 36 years. We're in the year 2010. 2010. If you take 2010 and subtract the 434 years that those 10 people have been serving, you end up with year 1576. Year 1576 just happens to be 200 years before this republic was founded. That's just 10 of them. Let's take it just a little further. I looked at the longevity of the 85 longest serving members of Congress since Congress has been in existence, this is the 111th Congress, and they're basically 2-year Congress, so there's 222 years of service that we're looking at. The top 85 in that list have served a total of 3,465 years. 85 of them, 3,465 years. Now, if you divide that out by the 85 people, they've served an average of 40.7 years per person. Let's go back to what I just did. You subtract take 2010, the year we're in now, and you subtract the 3,465 years that they served, and we end up back at 1455 BC, before the birth of Christ. That's a long time. What we need to do here is, the Founding Fathers didn't intend them to stay in that long, and so what we've got to do is, the country's in a mess right now. It's the biggest mess that we've been in since I've been alive. My 67 years on this planet and in this glorious republic, I've never seen as big a mess as we're in right now. But there's a solution to this mess. It's a doable solution. It's doable. And we the people can do this. I want to give you just a little bit more background here. There are 308 million people in this country. 75.4% of those people are over the age of 18. So there's 232 million people in this country who are old enough to vote. So what we need to do here is, we have 169 million registered voters at this time. There's 69 million approximately unregistered voters. So if we could register about half of those and get this up around 200 million registered voters in this country, then in 2010, November 2nd of 2010, we have a record number of people go to the polls and vote. And let me tell you what we can do in 2010. It's amazing how many people do not realize this. But Congress, the senators have 6-year terms. The senators have 6-year terms. House of Representatives has 2-year terms. There's 435 members of the House of Representatives. There are 100 congressmen. All 435 members of the House of Representatives are up for re-election November 2nd. 2010. 1/3 of the senators, 33 of those, are up for re-election in 2010. That's 468 people out of 535 that we could bring home all at one time. What amazes me is when I talk to people, educated people, knowledgeable people, most of them are not aware of that simple fact. That that the House of Representatives of Congress, that House, all 435 of those have to run for re-election every 2 years. The Founding Fathers wanted it so we could go get them and bring them back. But no one talks about that. All they talk about is how many seats are going to change between the Republicans and the Democrats. So the people think, oh, there's just going to be a few seats change. Well, let me tell you something. We can bring them all home. Term limits is the answer to the mess that faces this country. And we don't need congressmen to vote for term limits. We, the people, can impose term limits. The power rests with us. It rests with we, the people. We need to go to the polls and implement term limits. And what we do is we vote everybody out.